Hey everyone, this week for my reflection I decided to go ahead and give vlogging a try. I'm going to be talking about mobile information environments, so I thought it would be fun to try a few different types of recordings. So we will see what happens, bear with me, but it's going to be a lot of fun and I have a lot to talk about, so let's get started. So the first thing I wanted to talk about comes from the lecture. Michael mentioned the story about the bartender who had everything on his phone, and that really resonated with me because I kind of feel the same way. I have my lovely iPhone, and I really feel like I have everything there. If I'm watching TV and there's an actor who comes on screen and I'm like, oh, who is that? I can Google it. I can get on IMDb and be like, type in the name of the show and look up the episode and see what actors are in it, and then I can click on that name and find out what other things I know them from. It's feels like sort of the world is at my fingertips, and I think that's really important because I think that's how a lot of people, especially younger generations, really feel. As long as there's a Wi-Fi connection, I have unlimited data, so I can surf the internet as much as I want. I can post on my Facebook, I can tweet, I can do whatever. And I think that the library should really start taking that into consideration. I don't know how many of you saw my emerging technology plan. I talked about Snapchat because that is purely a mobile app. It's not something you can do on the computer, and I think it's just really important to bring the library up to date and sort of into the 21st century. My branch, my system recently got an Instagram, and that's another app that you can only use on a mobile device. And so we're slowly sort of moving towards that, and I think that's really important for libraries to consider. So I really enjoyed that story because I could completely relate. My music, my friends are all sort of in my phone, everything's there. Another thing from the lecture was second screen sharing, and I thought that concept was really interesting, and it reminded me of this program. It is called, what's it called? I think it's called Movie Chat, MUV Chat, and it is this program that you can do where you rent a movie and you do it through this company. You can rent a movie, and then it has sort of an application type thing that comes with it. And if you're showing it like at the library or something, there's a phone number at the beginning that everyone is given, and you can text while you're watching the movie. And so there's a live stream across the bottom of the movie of texts from patrons or whoever your audience is. And I just thought that was so cool. I heard about it about a year ago, and it completely slipped my mind until Michael mentioned second screen sharing and live tweeting and things. So it's kind of like that, but it's a closed event, so you're only getting what people are saying who are actually there. So I could text something in and be like, oh, that was so cool, or oh, wow, that was a huge explosion, and then somebody else might see that and be like, I love explosions, or something. Like, it's a really cool way to interact with other people, but it reminded me of that, and I will post a link to that down below, so you can check that out if you want to. It seems really cool. We've been looking at possibly doing it for maybe a teen program or something. It's a little expensive, but we will see.
So now you can probably tell I've moved. I'm recording this through my phone. I thought it would be fun. I was really inspired by our guest lecturer this week, Jan Holmquist, I think was his name, to try a couple of different things. And one of the things he said that really resonated with me was to use the right tool. Sometimes a hammer is going to be the best one, and sometimes using something on a mobile device is going to be the right one. It's going to depend on your audience, of course, as it always does in the library, and just knowing how to use it and when to use it and the right way to use it is also really important. Two other things he mentioned in his lecture that I thought were really important was that you don't need to be an expert, you just need to be curious. I think that is a huge part of librarianship. I mean, we can't be experts on everything, we can't know everything, but learning how to use things and being able to help others, there's a lot of curiosity that goes into that, and I thought that was really important. And also he was talking about that it's really about connecting, and as I mentioned earlier, I feel with my phone, I feel like sort of the world's at my fingertips, and I think that is a really good way to connect with our patrons, so that's really important. And the last thing I wanted to mention that really struck a chord with me, it was near the end of his presentation, was that it's not either or, it's both. I think that is very important because right now, we have two very distinct generations. The young generation, they've all grown up with technology, but the older generation, they didn't have any of that. And so it's not always going completely technology heavy isn't going to be best serving all of our patrons. And I think that's something we really have to keep in mind when we're designing programs is who our audience is and how they'll react to the technology that we're using and the different mediums to connect with them. There's a lot of factors. And so I really liked that. It's not either or, it's both. So I think that's pretty much everything I've got for this week talking about mobile information environments. There is so much room for growth and creativity in ways we can connect with our patrons. And I could talk forever about it if I had the time. I love social media and things like that. And I think a lot of that comes into play with mobile environments because more and more of those types of sites, of course, have apps. You can see it. I mean, we all have them, I'm sure. You can see I've got my Facebook, there's Twitter, I've even got Goodreads. Like, I have it all. And, many people do. And so I think there's a lot of room for opportunities and growth in mobile information environments. And I think it's a great way for us to connect with our patrons, and it's really important for us to go where our patrons are going. So if we're all making the transition onto mobile, like we as librarians should be right there with our audience that we're trying to reach. And again, like I said, using the right tool, that really stuck with me, as well as the idea of it's not either or, it's both. I think that is something we should always, always keep in mind. So thank you for bearing with me through this recording. I apologize, I think the sound fluctuates a little, but I tried my best, and I hope to talk with all of you soon in the discussion forums.